All right, we're live. What's going on, YouTube? Hope everybody had a good weekend. It is very unsummer like around here. It's been very fall like almost with the temperatures and the weather the last couple days. So we'll see if we hold out here and have any global cooling or global warming. But what's going on, folks? It is Sunday. Don't let the title fool you. Let's see who checks in here and says hello. But I wanted to do a video, just a quick chat to bring everybody up to speed on the Green Dragon Tavern. If everybody's not familiar, I don't know. I know a lot of new subscribers that are of mine are new since the Dragon, so they may not be familiar. So I want to do a quick chat, and we'll rehash everybody and remind them of what the Dragon is. Maybe talk about it a little bit, see if any of the old timers pop in, and we'll go from there. We'll see. We'll get this in before dark. We'll probably cut it by the time it is that you can't see me. See, we got Jay Sparks in here. What's good on? What's going on? Hey, M Long, old time. You guys are both familiar with the Dragon. Um, Sparks, goodbye. You're cutting out already? All right. Whatever works for you, Sparks. Have a good one. It has been cool up here around here, though, isn't it? I'm sure if you're around, you're enjoying it. Uman, good evening. So would this be a good time next week? Probably, Mule. This would be. You could probably start a little bit earlier too. I delayed this just because we could probably go if you did 9 Eastern, 8 your time. Mule, that probably work. I think would be. I mean, really, you could start it earlier if you got people on the East Coast that want to roll with it. You know how I do. I always roll in late. Don't go off of me. You'll never get started. Um, Diligent George, good evening. What's going on? Hey, I hope the wind stays out of this mic. Had to use the mic correction, hard to kind of get out of. Um, but for those that aren't familiar, the Green Dragon Tavern Chat was a good time we used to have on the YouTube when we used to do chats way back in the it's been a good 3 years since we had one, I guess. Yeah, 16. 16 is kind of when everything fell apart and we stopped really having any long, significant ones. And So I'll put the link in the description box of the channel so that you don't miss it next Sunday. Mule Team is our host and the bartender at large that put it all together. Go check out the channel, sub, and ring the bell one last time just so you don't miss it next Sunday if you're not familiar. But basically, just go look at one of the videos. That's what you could probably be prepared for. It's a lot different than the content on the channel, pretty much no holds barred. All subjects are open. The tinfoil hat usually comes out after about the first hour. But I'm sure we'll talk a lot about the red flag and Trump betraying people and turning his back on his base. And there'll probably be some talk about 20D chess and some Epstein and whatever happens this week, because we know it's like going faster and faster. It's like never stopping as far as the way this thing is rolling. But yeah, go back and check out some of those old chats. You'll see kind of the topics that we talked about. I'm sure we'll do some bragging about how we called it. We knew we would be here where we are. Americans would never, I guess you'd say, man up and take on the team, maybe would be the way we would put it. We kind of talked about that a lot, and it's a lot of it was about 2A, but we covered all the other freedoms and liberties as well. Illegal gun seizures, land rights. I mean, back in the old days with the Dragon, it kind of got sidetracked by everything happened out here in Nevada. It's kind of like we were ground zero, and that also kind of led to the downfall of the Dragon in a lot of ways too. But it did kind of go that route in 2014 with it was me, Tony, and Reb being main players. That was a lot of the discussion on there, so you'll see a lot of that. But you can tell by the titles kind of what gets talked about, and definitely check out some of those old chats. Hey, Warsaw Patriot, good evening. How's it going? M. Long says lots have lost confidence in government over this Epstein thing. Yeah, it's funny still, M. Long. I mean, people are using this Epstein thing to really hammer home that they're all on the same team, but people are still playing partisan politics with it. Either they're trying to play it off or still using it as a distraction. But people pointing out like, hey, this is Trump providing cover for the Clintons. But some people want to act like Trump's hands are clean on this whole deal when they're probably obviously not. But yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about some of that next Sunday as well, as people will try to minimize it and put it under the rug maybe. But like Midwest Prepper did his video tonight, the biggest thing about Epstein is all the people that were involved are really the real criminal ones. Sure, Epstein was a thug and a lowlife and everything else that goes with that type of life. But who was the people that he was servicing, and who was doing it now? That's a question I put out there on Twitter. Was okay, Epstein's gone, but somebody else is picking up the slack. It ain't like the elite's going to go without their drug, their drug of choice, the blood of the young, whatever you want to call it. It's not like that ended, right? So there's some other Epstein out there now doing this. Somebody else is making billions doing this, right? Who is it? Who do we go after next? Epstein got called out decades ago. People were calling out Epstein for exactly the thing that they're talking about now, but he was protected in some nature. And I guess you could look at it as maybe Epstein's competition got to him. Maybe it wasn't the FBI or the law, but his competition set him up and put him under so they could take over. There's a tinfoil hat conspiracy. That's what you can expect in the Green Dragon, is to run the full gamut of the discussion. And I don't know, Mule said he was down for a full 8 hours, if that was feasible. And I'm sure that there will be a lot of people coming in and out on the panel and getting their full 10 cents in. Hopefully we see some old timers. Jim out there, QC Hemp, was one that we used to have in a lot. He's always good for some property rights issues and everything else. And there's lots of old timers that you don't see here on the YouTube very often that hopefully will pop in if you're unfamiliar. So again, hey, Red October, what's going on? Is it too dark for knife throwing out your way? I would guess. What's going on? Still daylight, Red. We're in the Western time zone. I guess we call it Pacific, but you can't see no Pacific from where I'm at, so I don't know. It's the Western to me. So yeah, the far west as you can get. Yep. What's up, Warsaw? You need help? You have a challenge. Uh-oh. I don't know if I'm much of a help, but I'm sure anybody can help. Warsaw's promoting a hashtag, make a VR for America. Oh yeah, you might be in the wrong neck of the woods, Warsaw. Go back and look at some of those original Green Dragon Tavern. Kind of the whole thing got started under the guys in the discussion of secession and splitting up the country. I might be the wrong person, if not the whole tavern be the wrong. And of course it cut out right there. But Warsaw, you might be talking to the wrong crowd. Weren't you in the Green Dragon Tavern back in the day? You were in those chats, weren't you? But as I was saying before I got chopped up there, yeah, me and Mules, some of our first discussions were about secession and the splitting up of the country. So I have long espoused the need for secession and division. I am the wrong person to talk about that. I haven't promoted it or advocated it for it since then or before even, because you can see this train coming where we're at now. And that I would say that, and that's the only peaceful solution. The only way you're going to keep this together is the same way Lincoln did, and that's by force. So you can either kill millions of people or you can divide up and go peacefully. Was kind of my discussions back then. But that's some of the old Green Dragon Tavern stuff you could go you could find back there in the 2014, 2012 time era. Yeah, it was 12, and 13 that we were talking about a lot of those subjects, and just seeing the further division and the further heightening of the left versus right, R versus D um, agenda that was going down, and people weren't waking up to it. People were still digging their heels in, supporting their team. Go team, right? Um, and there's a lot of us on here on the YouTube and some other places saying it's us versus them, as in them being the elite powers that be government. But far too many people want to support their RRD team versus the people team, and that's got us to where we are now. That's why we have such problems, because too many people support the powerful over the people. Thus is the nature of the game, I guess. But here we are. We'll have plenty of that discussion next week, I'm sure. This land is your land, Sam Hunt. Is that a oh, it's a song. I see. Left versus right doesn't matter anymore. We're listening. That's the problem. Well, I don't know, Warsaw. I think people on here are listening. Again, people have been talking about this stuff for years now, trying to disassociate with it. But even at that point, the masses aren't listening. You know. Hey, Barry Wood, what's going on? Good evening. Winging It Tracy's with us. Good evening. Dragon rocked back then. Yeah, don't let the numbers fool you either. I was looking at some of the old chats, going through the playlist or the videos, and some of the view counts, they've definitely dropped. They were getting thousands of views, and now they're showing 300. It's like 305 is like the standard YouTube algorithm catch-all to mute your video. But yeah, they were getting thousands of views on some of those old Green Dragon Tavern chats that you might scroll through. I wouldn't. And Mule's kind of documented how the dragon has had to fight to even keep a lot of videos up, because they'd keep coming at him with stuff to try to take some stuff down, but he's managed to keep a lot of the stuff up over time. Hey, more days. Good evening. How you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome to chat. Rooster Cogburn in the chat, fresh off of his fresh acquisition of some Silver Eagles. Rooster, that's what I heard, at least. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, every little bit of savings might help in the long run. We'll see. We will see. Warsaw, ever heard of Pizzagate? Yeah, who hasn't? Yeah, everybody knows about Pizzagate, Warsaw. Yeah, the whole what was the name of the pizza parlor there, and everybody kind of ignored it as a conspiracy, but it's never been proven wrong. Right? Has it ever been proved to be false? But I mean, you're like right what you said above, Warsaw, stuff like that the left ignores because, again, their team. But it's like Trump and red flag and bump stocks and everything else. Everybody on his team ignores it because though they want their guy to stay around, because they're more afraid of the other side than they are of their own people who are just as evil as the other side. You know, hey, you lurk more days. All right, on. Cool. Mule says we average 2.5 thousand views per chat till the purge. Yeah, it was definitely rocking. Cosmic was the name of the pizza place. That sounds right, Barry. Yeah, remember it had like the spaceship on the outside of it or whatever. Yeah, and the thing is, most of the people are so agnostic or atheist about the whole thing that anytime you bring up Satanism, that they immediately shut you off when you bring up stuff like that. And the death cult, that's exactly what it is. But people don't want to talk about that. Hey, High Pocket, how you doing? Good evening. High Pocket's familiar with the dragon. Right on. Robert and Cindy, how you doing? Good evening. We're doing good. Just wrapping this up. Just wanting to get the word out about the chat next week. If you're not familiar with the Green Dragon Tavern, which I don't believe you are, a lot of my new subs I know aren't, so I'm trying to just spread the word about the chat next week and make sure everybody's familiar. So check out the link in the description box so you're in tune with a good old time last hurrah chat, and just wanting to get as many people in there as they can to hopefully hear some, if not hear some good reminiscing, maybe some future words of wisdom or future items for discussion that maybe make their rounds, because it was definitely this thing that was cut off before its time. The dragon shouldn't have ended the way it did, but that's the way it goes, I guess, with the nature of things. But we move on and advance the bigger and better things, I guess. But Mule's gonna do this one last dragon chat, and hopefully brings a lot of the old timers out of the woodwork to discuss things that maybe have been foretold, or be like, oh, well, we missed that one. That was wrong. Wing it, Tracy just picked up 2015 Silver Eagles. Get them while you can. Right on. Oh, excuse me. Nothing but a yes man, Warsaw, right? Well, he's a populist. He's in it for Trump. He's in it to do what Trump has always done, promote himself. So that is what it is. It's either about money or Trump. Diligent Dirge, why is the dragon ending? Well, Mule wants it to end. I think it's. I don't know if. I know he's going back and forth about whether or not to take all the videos down or not. But it'll be the last chat, and we haven't done a chat on the dragon in a year or more. Anyway, I mean, it's not like it's really active. And YouTube's trying to kill it, so they don't promote the videos and chats like they used to. Like he said, they're getting over 1,000 views a chat with, and you look at it, there's barely even 1,000 subscribers. But the word was getting out, and it was getting promoted and shared and everything like that. And YouTube's kind of chopped that all down, so it's really a dying channel, I guess you'd say. So it's time to kind of move on. But I guess he wants to do it right and go out with one last hurrah, I guess you'd say. So nothing wrong with that. And plus, with this whole getting rid of Hangouts, makes it a lot harder to run a chat. So that's one thing. I don't even know if Mule has Mule, have you checked out the new software you need to run one of those chats? I know a lot of people are using this what's it called? Not Stream Monkey. I've seen people using it today though, or last week or so. Dang, I can't remember the name of it. What do they call it? Anyway, people are using this a lot of different softwares. Yeah, because Scotsman just had it in his chat. He was running a new software he has to run. He had people in the chat with him, so that was working. So I don't know, Mule, if you have problems, make sure you try to get it up and running this week. Test it out. Maybe ask Scotsman if you saw that, and Scotsman will hook you up on how to run it. That's what he was doing. Either way, we're getting screwed over, right? Warsaw, there's no doubt. Hey, Jimmy from Tucson, how's it going? Good evening. This should be daylight in your neck of the woods too, right? Robert and Cindy, who am I talking about? Check the link in the description box. The Green Dragon Tavern is an old kind of like chat channel we had back in the 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And we're having a last chat next week, and just wanting to get the word out for people to check it out. For any of the new timers that may not know it, might perk your interest. It'll run through some reminiscing, but hopefully also cover the new stuff, and bring some old timers in that haven't been on YouTube in a while to share their wisdom with. But it was always a good time. Morday says, hopefully we can do a moment of silence for Kansas. Right on. Good reminder. I'm sure that topic will come up, as Kansas was one of the Kansas Hillbilly Prepper was one of the old timers of the Dragon, but has passed on and went on to the other side a couple years ago. There's a prime example of people come and go. You will check out the options, right? It's dark down in Tucson, Jimmy. That's crazy. I mean, we're way north of you. It seems like it'd still be at least daylight, even if you are. Are you an hour behind in the summertime? I mean, an hour ahead. Hour ahead. Is it what is it? Nine there? Yeah, it's 8 here. So maybe it's already 9 where you are. He brought you in more days. Right on. Right. Yeah, Kansas was kind of. He did his daytime chat thing, and that kind of snowballed, I guess you'd say, and kind of what the Dream Dragon became too. Poison Stinger and some other folks, and goodness, that was before I even knew that much about it. That was before I was involved. Kansas is like a founder, so that was good stuff. See the people lurking back there. All right, Mule, have a good one. We'll spread the word. That's all this is about anyway, Mule. Just trying to get the word out to I know the newer viewers of the channel may not be aware of the dragon, so just putting that below to spread it, and people get their last shot at looking at some of the old chats if they see a topic that, you know, reminisce about some of the old stuff we talked about, and just kind of remind yourself of what YouTube used to be like, you know, what the YouTube could have been if they hadn't have messed it all up, when speech actually mattered, free speech actually mattered, and people could discuss things, I guess, sanely, but also insane at the same time. What we would call going off the rails. Going off the rails happened quite often as well. It wasn't outside the unusual to have things go sideways pretty quick on the discussion, which is all good as well. Was that No Pika? No Paul Pika, good evening. What's going on? Everyone knows you know? What do you know? Oh, no, I don't know that you know. Yeah. Dirge, do you think YouTube is going to... Nah, I don't think YouTube's going to die. I think YouTube's in it. I think they're here for a much longer... I mean, maybe our little small area of YouTube diligent. I mean, like, maybe the prepping conspiracy discussion side of YouTube is going to go away. And like you're saying, people are migrating to other people. I mean, really the migration is just changing discussion forums. It's not the same. You're not going to go somewhere that's the same as YouTube. So really it's going to be a different type of discussion in other places, you know. It's, you know, going to be a different form of writing or whatever, forum posting. But YouTube's going to be here. There, you just go to the trending and most popular topics on YouTube. And when you got people, 23 million viewers watching kids open toys and people eat hamburgers and all this other stuff that people obviously would rather watch other than normal TV, I guess you'd say, rather than broadcast TV, which is, I guess, is fine. YouTube's getting what people, it's still working in that form, and that they're getting people to watch things that they want to watch. You know, they want to watch mindless stuff. People want to watch stuff that is not cause thought. It's just entertainment, and mindless entertainment at that, for a large portion. So they're going to thrive. And that's why they promote it, and that's why it's still going to be around. We can probably talk about that in the Dragon next week. How has YouTube caused the further degradation of America? As much as it could be, as much as it could have been a free thought platform and promote good ideas, how has it further promoted bad ideas and thoughts and bad, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, bad habits is probably a bad way to say it. But it's inculcated the worst of society instead of promoting the best. Might be the best way to be what YouTube has done. And that's probably on purpose. Again, we talk about the things that get discussed in our circles, promoting not only individualism and rugged individualism, but also promoting just self-sufficiency and all those other things that go around in these circles. And it gets squashed, pushed to the bottom of the list, not promoted, downvoted, demonetized, deplatformed, all the other words. When those things get moved off of YouTube on purpose, it's obviously the agenda they're pushing is the mindlessness and the worst of society versus the best. So it is what it is. But it's like so many other platforms. But you we stay on here and talk to each other because we can. Like I said, you can go to another platform, it's not going to be the same. Like I was told people last year, or I guess it was a year and a half ago now, when the adpocalypse struck. Was that last year? Was that almost 2 years ago? Anyway, I said, I'm in it till the wheels fall off. I mean, I don't have enough time to worry about going somewhere else, at least right now, at least. Maybe I don't have time to put on YouTube. I might go check something else out. But I mean, it's like when Patreon came around, or GunTube, or whatever those other things were. I clicked on it and went and checked it out for about 5 minutes. I'm like, I can't even deal with trying to do both, especially. So I just stayed here, and like I said, we're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. Some people have been able to do both and succeed, obviously, which is great. I mean, it's great that like the prepared mind has been able to be so successful, which is really good stuff. But um, that's the exception, not the rule, I think. But step one, survival, um, full spectrum survival. I mean, I remember when full spectrum survival had fewer subscribers than me. Back when they first started, they were a great. I mean, they were already. You could tell they were going to be a great channel, and they pulled off. Being able to go to different platforms and doing what they wanted to do. That to be successful. So that's all good. But that's the exception. The majority of us that are just on here to hang out are. Well, we're here to fall till the wheels fall off, kind of like the dragon will be, as well. That was 2017 GunTube, full 30. What was 2017? No, Paul. I'm not sure what you're referencing. Vaughn Backcountry Preps did a burger review the other day. Oh, did he? I must have missed that. Vaughn did he make his own homemade burger? Is that what it was? He did not get a store-bought one, did he? Maybe, surely it was a grilled burger that he made himself. Did his own review of his own burger? Those dirge think eventually there won't be anywhere else to go, right? Especially when the government enforces it and the government pushes it and the government tries to push them, Store-bought, Jimmy, really? You got lag more days? Might be on your end. I'm not showing any issues on my end, but it does happen. Just that's the way signals work, especially out here in the middle of nowhere. The lag comes and goes as it will. Store-bought fat burger. Oh no, that's right. Yvonne's a good channel. I enjoy watching him. I wish he'd get more. I can't wait to get more over there on his Arizona channel. More of his homestead. But it'd be good stuff. But yeah, most people are gonna, most small timers like us that aren't I guess big time, haven't made it big time. I guess you'd say that didn't uh, fully what's the word, fully utilize platforms or whatever. Um, I guess we're here to YouTube to small time. We're using YouTube as a social network more so than a lot of the other ones. Um, it's like YouTube is a entertainment system in so many ways, and they've really been trying to push to make it compete with broadcast cable TV. Right, that's their big push, is to be a cable satellite provider like Dish and everything else. That's what their big push has been, to make money off of the other stuff and make the subscription money and stuff like that. And you could see that change about 4 years ago when they brought out, they had the base 30 channels, and you could YouTube Red and those other things, subscription based stuff. That's been their thing all along, or ever since Google took it over, at least, is to get that subscription money to build that way, to build that entertainment revenue stream for them. And they're not in it for the social network like so much of us are, as what we've done for years of just things that the VR has almost died. How many people do a VR anymore? I mean, you can still find it, and it's all the small channels for the most part. But how many big channels do VR challenges anymore, or ask people to do VRs to their videos? I remember the days of especially like, man, even dang, TR Prepper. I mean, TR Prepper used to be, I thought, was big time. TR Prepper was big time. He still is, but he was, he was one of the bigger channels that I watched. And we were always doing these video VR challenges and stuff to make a VR on discussion topics or demonstration of whatever, make a VR and respond. Not even to necessarily, contest, but just that was the discussion was done through VR. You didn't type a whole paragraph in the comments. You made a VR and you post it in the comments. People don't do that nearly as much as we used to. And I don't do it as much as I used to either. But VRs was where it's at. That was, and I don't remember why that kind of just died out. People stopped doing VRs. Well, really, that's what we should be doing because we'd be using up more of Google's server space. If we really put it to the man, and that's one of those things I said a couple years ago when, they made that 1,000 subscriber thing, platform minimum to really get promoted. I was like, smaller channels, they're trying to kick you out of here because they need to free up server space. That's their bottom line, because we're filling up so much server space with discussions like this, like a chat like this. That doesn't get nearly the views that a 5-minute teddy bear video gets on some kid channel. We're taking up so much more server space with hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour chats. We're taking up so much more room with that doesn't profit them, that they want to kick all the little channels out. That's big part of their move. A lot of it is so much tied to money. There is agenda behind the message too, getting squashed, but the bottom line always write the checks. If the prepared mind was doing chats getting 25 million views, they wouldn't be messing with him at all. Full Spectrum Survival was putting out his short movie clips basically that he makes and did make. The short movies that they make, if that was getting 30 million, 50 million views, YouTube wouldn't mess with them because it's money. It's all about the money. And that space we take up is money to them, and they got to find ways to cut the corners. So they find, I guess you say, polite ways to like minimalize and marginalize us and hope that we'll go away. But the bats are out. It's getting close to dark. You may not be able to, I think the camera compensates a little bit, I think, on here, but it's definitely getting a little dark. Yeah, that's a bat. Right on. More days you like the VRs too? Right on. They took away the link to VR or something like that. Oh, that's right. You couldn't post links. You couldn't post links in YouTube videos for the longest time. You can now, once again, but you can't post links in live chats in the comment section. But you can post. It was like 2 years ago or so they brought it to where you could put, anybody could put a link in a comment box underneath a video. But there, yeah, I think that's what it was for the longest. They took away the ability to post your VR underneath somebody's video, and I think only the owner of the channel, I think, could post them. But that was the way VRs worked. You're right. More days, that might have been it, where they took that away and made, well, if you can't do VRs that way, it kind of just died out. And I think you might be right about that. Watchful Warrior, hey, good evening. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for checking in. Oh, we at Tracy brings up an old timer, David American Warning. Yeah, and he did a chat was it about a year and a half ago? He did one. Going after Trump like we all were. Telling us, just laying it out there that this guy is not the savior. This guy is not it. There's a good channel. Maybe Dave will show back up. Maybe we get David on the Dragon next week. That'd be really cool. He made a guest appearance, 1 or 2. I think Mule even made it on Dave's chat a couple times. But American Warning was a really good chat. They used to go every week. And I don't even know, is his channel, is American Warning TV still up over on the YouTube? I haven't been over there in so long, Tracy. But yeah, he was really good. Dave, like the Dragon was the emotional side of the brain. Dave was the logical, educational mind of the resistance, I guess you would say. It was the political mind of the Thomas Paine type, I guess you could say. Saints and Sappers, what's going on? They have enough money, throw them overboard. I don't know if we can do that, Saints. No Papika, VR, video response. VR is a video response. Exactly, no Papika. Exactly, what is it? Because you don't see them anymore. Video response. You just make a video to respond to a video. It used to be the way things were done on here. You know, we're just reminiscing a little bit about the way things were back when the Dragon was firing on all cylinders. And again, for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, the Green Dragon Tavern Chats, link in the description box. Go check out that channel. Its final chat is going to be next Sunday. Hours maybe to be determined, but go subscribe, hit the bell, because it's only going to be one time. You're going to get a reminder. So that way you don't miss it next Sunday. Definitely, it'll be multiple hours, I'm sure. So you can go in and out anytime during the chat as your schedule allows. But I think you'll definitely want to enjoy some of the people that are going to be in there and some of the wide variety of topics that could range from the bizarre to the unusual to the on point. It's still there, Tracy? You're talking about Dave's channel? Okay, cool. Tracy says Dave does work on Facebook. Is that right? Right on. Hey, Team Foco, what's going on? Team Foco says, with my old channel, I don't remember having a time limit. Now with my number can't load a video over 12 to 13 minutes last I tried. Right. Yeah, they changed the rules like 2-3 years ago and they had the adpocalypse. Not only did you have to have 1,000 viewers, but you had to have so many view time to be able to upload a video over that time. That's what Uncle Al talks about constantly over there at Die Bullfrog. He's always talking about that limit. And I remember when I first came on, it was like 200 subscribers and 2,000 minutes or something. It was very little. 2,000 might be a lot high. But it was like 200 subscribers. Then you could upload over 10 minutes or something like that. The limit and the numbers were way different back in the old days, but they definitely bumped that up and upped the game there 2 years ago when they changed their platforming rules. And yeah, you can't upload anymore, Team Foco, for sure. Go to Dirge, snacks and beer. Yep, definitely. As Mule will probably do it in his introduction, and Mule will probably discuss it. He might do another, warning video this week. Say, hey, we're going to be on Sunday. He'll probably do one of those Friday or something. Hey, remember to be at the Dragon on Sunday night. Mule treats it like a bar. And the origins of the name, the Green Dragon Tavern, it is called a tavern, is the Green Dragon Tavern was one of the original taverns where Sam Adams and that kind of crew got together and discussed their actions for the revolution and what they were going to do against the British. And that's kind of what inspired the name. As a lot of our topics, as the topic of this chat, it was all about sedition. And that's kind of what the Dragon and we were down bad mouthing Obama and everybody else and all the 3 other agencies and everything else. So definitely bring your snacks and beer. Would be not a requirement, but it can always help enjoy it. I'm sure there'll be some people on the panel that are having a few as well. How far am I from Tucson? I'm far. I'm way up in northern Nevada, Jimmy, up by Carson City. So it's about a 12-hour drive, maybe a little bit more, depending. Tracy hopes Tony's there. I'm pretty sure all the old timers have signed on, Tracy. Mule's got a hold of pretty much all the, the ones he can. I've mentioned, we've talked about several of them on here already, but Third Option, Rebel, Tony, Matt, Resist the Tyranny. If anybody's not familiar with Matt Resist the Tyranny will be on there, he said. And there's others that have come and gone that I don't know, they may be able to make it on there or not. Maybe they'll just make a guest appearance. I'm sure Mule will let anybody in who has been on before have a quick minute at least. No Papika, what would you call yourself? A constitutionalist? I would, in the traditional sense that Constitution should be the rule of law, but it's not working that way, and we are in a post-constitutional system, so we have to fight for something new. The days of the Constitution are long gone. I think we realized that somewhere around 2013, 14, and 15 in the Dragon. We started off talking about constitutional principles and violations, and we kind of transitioned to we are in a post-constitutional era in this country that people haven't woken up to, and really we have been for a long time, but we just haven't realized it as a country, or just more generational, you know. So now we're in what do we do moving forward? How do we escape the travesty that's coming? Because these things always devolve badly, and what comes next? That's kind of a lot of the chats revolved around. And how much worse can it get before it does all fall apart? Diligent Dirge, you know we're in trouble when people care more about eating Tide Pods than perpetual erosion of the constitutional rights. Yeah, definitely in trouble, Dirge. Definitely in trouble. No, Pa, you're more of a volunteerist. Thanks to High Impact Flicks. That's a great channel. Yeah, volunteerism is definitely something we've checked out more over the years, and I'm with you on so many of those things. And to a large extent, you can see alignments with volunteerism in the Constitution originally. The only issue is obviously there's still state structures that were formed in the taxation, especially when you look at it. The Whiskey Rebellion right off the bat kind of doesn't allow for that volunteerist from their get-go. So you kind of diverges pretty quick. But volunteerism is a very significant impact on or influence on all of us, I think. Just to get from here to there, especially the way things are going, that's one of the discussions that regularly happen in the Dragon, you know. Yeah, how do you get to anarchy from where we're at without you know, how do you live your life, you know, like that when you're constantly being taxed and burdened otherwise by overburdening government? Yeah, you really can't live like that. Your individual discussions with other people and your individual treatment of other people can live off that principle, but the government will not treat you and let you live that volunteerist principles. Rooster says the Constitution is going to be our saving grace, in my opinion. Only if the states enforce it, because again, the Constitution is a compact of the states to form the government. And the only saving grace, I think, Rooster, that it will give us is that it will give the states the impetus to destroy the whole thing. The Constitution will give the states the ability, legal right to abolish Washington, D.C. and destroy it. That's to me, in my mind now, the saving grace of the Constitution is that it allows for the destruction of the federal government if the states would just do it. Lincoln didn't allow it to happen last time, but that's its beauty, I think. That if you're talking about being saved in the long run, I think that's it. Team Foco, Patriot Act cut the Achilles of the Constitution. Almost 20 years of gray water. Right. Well, as far as just taking away all the different amendments, in particular the 10 amendments, were drastically affected by the Patriot Act. And the thing is, it shouldn't have been, because the Patriot Act's contrary to the Constitution. The Constitution is supreme, but it's not treated that way. The Constitution has been treated ever since Lincoln as a document to lord over the states by the federal government, and it always should have been the other way around, where the states lord over the federal government with the Constitution. But we have been reversed. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole, man, lots of videos, lots of my old videos. I mean, I got a playlist, the political and social commentary, and you go back in my videos 4 or 5 years ago, and there's lots of discussion about that stuff. In the Dragon, we had lots of discussion about those things 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Goodness. And people, it's always funny. Anarchists always say that the Constitution failed, and I'm always, no, that's incorrect. People failed the Constitution. The Constitution is, yes, nothing but a piece of paper, but the Constitution gave the people all the power they needed, and they refused to use it. And that's, I know the anarchists and the Lysander Spooner fans and all of them, they always bring that up, that the Constitution can't do anything, has never done anything. Well, that's because the people didn't use it. They didn't use it as it was supposed to be used, because the Constitution belongs to the people to use against the government, and we refused to do it. And when we did use it, the secession of the southern states, Lincoln went to war over it. So the war doctrine, the Lincoln Doctrine, as I call it, that the Union would be held together and is more important than the Constitution or any freedom of association, has reigned supreme for a long time now. Morday says we were the European Union before it was. I'm not sure what you mean, Mordays, because the European Union originally was just an economic compact. It was just a way to trade goods across borders until they got this superpower that they formed in Belgium to pass laws that everybody had to act the same from over in, well, it wasn't, the Czech Republic wasn't even part of the EU, is it? Or is it now? But basically from Berlin to London, everybody had to act the same, eat the same, treat everybody the same, had the same laws. That's when the EU really got sideways. But yeah, the EU is a bad deal. Hopefully Brexit's coming. We'll see. They keep dragging their heels. The bankers really don't want Brexit to happen. The big money people don't want Brexit to happen because that's their method of control. If Britain goes, Germany's the only thing holding the EU together economically, and it probably won't last long because it's only, the ticks can't suck off Germany, but only for so long. Italy, Greece, France, Spain, all those countries are falling apart, not only economically but socially, with the mass invasions and everything. It's almost purposeful, it looks like, and destroying the cultures as well. Diligent dirge, red flag laws, a breach of the contract, right? Well, yeah, the red flag is completely not a federal issue, because it's, again, thou shalt not be infringed is very clear. Until you amend the Constitution, red flag law is null and void. Any of those, the 1933, is it, or was it 33 Firearms Act, the 68 firearms laws, the 80s, the one Reagan signed, all unconstitutional, all illegitimate. But yet here we are, not able to buy a silencer, not able to own automatic weapons, lest you be knocked on the door by a three-letter agency of some sort. More days, California trying to tell us here in Kansas what we need and what we need to pay for. Yeah, exactly, more days. And that's, I guess, an example of how it's similar to the EU, is it's becoming more blanket. And that's just goes with the nature of how it's been for a long time, is making people in Maine live like they do in California, or in Texas like they do in Michigan, and making everybody follow the same cultural rules, not only the same constitutional rules, which is not the way the Republic was designed. And this chat is, I think, went long in the tooth, because I didn't think I was going to have the moon come over to my shoulder to remind me. But we'll start wrapping this up here. Appreciate everybody dropping in. Thanks for the reminders and some of the discussions. Thanks for some of the old timers popping in here. But just remember the title of the chat. The biggest thing, remember the Green Dragon Tavern chats next week. Check it out. That's where we'll be if you want to check us out. That's where a lot of us will be. If you're thinking YouTube's kind of desolate, go check out the Green Dragon Tavern, because that's where the action will be. So the link is below to the channel. Go subscribe, hit the bell for one time, because you're only going to get one, maybe two notifications if Mule does a reminder this week that the chat's happening next Sunday. And be prepared for all those hard-hitting discussion topics like we already had here, with a full panel, as many as, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 deep. I don't know how the new software, broadcasting software for panels works now. I've seen some of them have up to 4 people in a chat. In the old days, we could, a full panel, I think, was 8. So we will see how many Mule can stuff into there and get working. If he gets all his technology right, we will figure something out, if nothing else. And just putting that out there. So go check us out next Sunday. Is that Midas Welby? What's going on, Midas? Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking in. Tracy says only 6 people can be on at a time. Yeah, and I bet you that has something to do with YouTube server space. Everything is probably tied into that YouTube server space and them saving money. And West Wind Survival checking here last minute. What's up, Wayne? Stay frosty, says Jimmy from Tucson. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Green Dragon Tavern. Y'all have a good evening and enjoy your week. Prep hard, live free.